शुरू करिए. See if you are able to share the screen.
Okay, ma'am. मैम मेरा स्क्रीन दिखाई दे रहा?
Visible है.
Saloni, are you there in class?
Yes.
Start.
मैम एक्चुअली मेरा टॉपिक एटीट्यूड है, तो मैं एटीट्यूड से स्टार्ट कर सकती हूँ.
ठीक है.
Okay, ma'am. So, good afternoon, ma'am, and my class fellows. On behalf of my group member, I would like to welcome you for today's presentation. Let me first introduce to my group, me, Saloni, Niharika, and Chandan. We are here to bring light to the topic, namely attitude, job satisfaction, and value. The word attitude is very common among all of us. We have often heard somebody praising for our good and positive attitude, and sometimes we face praise for our poor attitude. The word attitude can also be referred as point of view, vantage point, and frame of mind. Let me be very clear. It is the way we think, feel, or behave towards any person or thing. It is somewhere between a belief, a stance, a mood, or pose. If you have got an attitude about something, it can be really hard to change it because we think we are right at our place. So hold on to positive attitude always. An attitude is a way of thinking that we can express just by standing a certain way. It is an evaluative statement, either favorable or unfavorable, concerning object, people, and events. That reflects how one feels about something or any person or thing. Next slide, please. Okay. So 6 question that will help understand attitude on a very basic level. Firstly, what are the main components of attitude? How consistent are attitudes? And does behavior always follow after attitude? What are the major job attitudes? Fifth one is how are employee attitude measured? And lastly, what is the importance of attitude to workplace diversity? I will try to elaborate the components of attitude by example. That is cognitive, firstly, that is evaluation. Like, my superior gave a promotion to a coworker who deserved is less than me. My supervisor is unfair to me. Secondly, affective, that is feeling. I dislike my supervisor to any supervisor. Thirdly, behavior, that is action. I'm looking for other work. We simply give our point of view or our call. I have complained about my supervisor to anyone who would listen to it, and so on. That is negative attitude towards his or her supervisor. Now, cognitive component, it can also be explained as cognitive component, the opinion or belief segment of an attitude. Secondly, affective component deals with the emotional or feeling segment of with the attitude and emotional or feeling segment of the attitude. Thirdly is behavioral component of attitude, an intention to behave in a certain way towards someone or something. Next slide. Okay. So moving ahead about the consistency. People seek consistency among their attitude and their behavior. Individuals seek to reconcile divergent attitude and align their attitude and behavior so they appear rational and consistent. Moderating variables, the most important moderator of the attitude, behavioral relationships have been found to be importance of the attitude, like fundamental values, self-interest, identification with the individual, group, and the person values. It is specificity, accessibility, whether they exist, social pressure, and direct experiences. Self-perception theory, self-perception argues that attitudes are used after the fact to make sense out of the action that has already occurred rather than as device that precede and guide actions. Attitude are used after the fact to make sense out of the action that has already occurred. So make sure to carry impressive personality and do have good effective attitude and behavior. Coming to the next part, job attitude. Perceived organizational support, that is POS, the degree to which employees behave in the organization, values their contribution and care about their well-being, employee engagement, and individuals' involvement with satisfaction with their job and enthusiasm for their job, whatever they do. Now, how employee attitude are measured? It is basically performed through attitude survey, allocating responses from the employees through questionnaire or how they actually think or feel about their job, work groups, supervisor, and their organizations. More or less, in employee behavior are basically based on perception, not reality. Accordingly, attitude and workforce diversity training activities that can reshape employees' attitude concerning diversity, participating in diversity training, and provide them self-evaluation and group discussion, volunteer work in community and social serve centers with individuals of diverse background. Now, I would like to invite Niharika to carry on further presentation. Niharika, are you there?
Thank you, Saloni, for inviting me. My name is Niharika, and now discuss to job satisfaction. Job satisfaction is the feeling and perception of a worker regarding his or her works and how she feels well is an organization. It indicates the extent of employee negative and positive feelings towards their job and organization. Organizational behavior tries to improve it. A person's job is more than the obvious activities of softening papers, waiting on customers, or driving a truck. Job requires police meeting performance standards, living with working conditions, which options are less than ideal, etc. Happy workers are not necessarily productive workers. However, productive workers are normally happy workers. Generally, dissatisfied workers absent themselves more. Liberal silk benefits also contribute. Also, if you have interesting side activities. This slide can. Now, influence of job satisfaction. Work itself, pay, promotion, supervision, co-workers, and working conditions. Work itself, my job can make me happy. My work supplies me with a stable job. And pay to give somebody money for work, goods, services, etc. Promotion, received a promotion in the past 2 years, leads to increased job satisfactions. Supervision gives managers and staff the opportunity to discuss and skills. Now, working conditions. Working conditions are the context within which a worker is expected to perform his job. Now, consequence of job satisfaction. Performance. It increases efficiency and effectiveness at work. It promotes harmonious employee relations. It helps to decrease employees turnover. Performance abstentions, turnover, OCB, customer satisfaction, workplace, and deviations. Now, alternative model. Alternative model, social contribution of alternative versus objective characteristics. Attitude statements based on perception of different components, social context, cause self-attributions about behavior. Slide. Now, consequence of job satisfaction, job involvement, organizational citizen behavior. Now, employee will bring organizational commitment. Job involvement, a state of physiological identification with work or the degree to which a job is central to a person's identity. Organizational citizenship behaviors is a person voluntary commitment within an organization or company that is not part of his or her contractual tasks. Employee will bring relates to all aspects of working life. Organizational commitment is an individual physiological attachment to the organization. Now, would I like to call Chandan?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chandan Kumar. The topic today I am going to present is values. I will be explaining what does it means, what are its importance and characteristics, what are the types of value and factor influencing values. Now let me talk about the definition of value. Value system is viewed as relatively permanent perpetual framework which influences the nature of individual behavior. वैल्यू क्या करता है कि इंडिविजुअल बिहेवियर को के नेचर को परमानेंटली इन्फ्लुएंस कर देता है. वैल्यूज आर द एट्रीब्यूट पोजेस्ड बाय एन इंडिविजुअल एंड थ्रू डिजायरेबल. वैल्यूज आर सिमिलर टू एटीट्यूड बट आर मोर परमानेंट एंड वेल बिल्ड इन नेचर. वैल्यू एटीट्यूड के जैसा होता है. एटीट्यूड मतलब जैसे आइदर पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव और जजमेंटल होता है पर्सन टू पर्सन और सिचुएशन. सिमिलरली वैल्यू भी जजमेंटल होता है, आइदर गुड आइदर बैड और डिजायरेबल. एटीट्यूड फिर बदल जाता है लेकिन वैल्यूज नहीं बदलता. वैल्यूज आर मोर परमानेंट कंपेयर टू एटीट्यूड. The second definition is values are generally tinged with moral favor and they contain a judgmental element involving an individual idea as to what is right, good or desirable. जैसे मैंने बताया था वैल्यूज भी जजमेंटल होता है. जैसे वैल्यूज के आइडियाज, जैसे सपोज मेरे हिसाब से कोई चीज राइट है और वही दूसरे किसी के हिसाब से वो चीज बहुत गलत है. इसीलिए वैल्यूज इंडिविजुअल से अदर गुड हो सकता है, वेरी हो सकता है. हर एक के वैल्यू अलग अलग होता है, वेरी करता है. नाउ व्हाट आर इट्स इंपॉर्टेंस. वैल्यूज लेज द फाउंडेशन ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ एटीट्यूड एंड मोटिवेशन. ये लिंक वैल्यूज एटीट्यूड और मोटिवेशन दोनों से लिंक्ड है. ऑब्वियसली जैसे मैंने बताया था अभी एटीट्यूड से लिंक तो है ही, लेकिन मोटिवेशन से कैसे लिंक है. मोटिवेशन से लिंक है अगर हम लोग किसी चीज को राइट मानते हैं, हम लोग अगर उस चीज पे बिलीव करते हैं तब हम लोग उसके लिए ज्यादा मोटिवेटेड रहते हैं. वैसे ही वैल्यू लिंक्ड है मोटिवेशन से भी. पर्सनल वैल्यू सिस्टम इन्फ्लुएंसेस द परसेप्शन ऑफ इंडिविजुअल. वैल्यू हम इंडिविजुअल के परसेप्शन को चेंज कर देता है. जैसे परसेप्शन तो वैसे नॉर्मली चेंज होते रहता है. जैसे अगर किसी ने कुछ अच्छा कर दिया तब हम लोग का उसके लिए परसेप्शन अच्छा हो जाता है, अगर किसी ने खराब कर दिया उसका परसेप्शन खराब हो जाता है. एंड द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज थर्ड पॉइंट, वैल्यू सिस्टम. पर्सनल वैल्यू सिस्टम मैनेजर के व्यू को इन्फ्लुएंस करता है रिगार्डिंग इंडिविजुअल एंड ग्रुप्स ऑफ इंडिविजुअल इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. मैनेजर के व्यू को भी इन्फ्लुएंस कर देता है रिगार्डिंग इंडिविजुअल और ग्रुप्स ऑफ इंडिविजुअल इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. द फोर्थ पॉइंट इज वैल्यू सिस्टम मैनेजर के डिसीजन, उनके सॉल्यूशन टू द वेरियस प्रॉब्लम में भी इन्फ्लुएंस कर देता है. एंड द फिफ्थ पॉइंट इज अगर हम लोग किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में अगर हम लोग का वैल्यू और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का वैल्यू अलाइन करता है एक दूसरे से, देन हम लोग ज्यादा जॉब सेटिस्फाइड रहेंगे. वही अगर हम लोग का वैल्यू और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का वैल्यू डिफरेंट रहता है तब हम लोग को जॉब डिससेटिस्फैक्शन हो सकता है. What are now the characteristics? Value provide a standard of competence and morality. Values is linked with morality. Morality मतलब जैसे something is good, bad, desirable or non-desirable. It is decided by the value system of an organization and value system of an individual. Values are fewer in number than attitude. Just values are fewer in number than attitude. वैल्यू जैसे एटीट्यूड पर्सन टू पर्सन वैरी करता है, सिचुएशन टू सिचुएशन वैल्यू करता है, जबकि वैल्यूज कम होते हैं एटीट्यूड से लेकिन काफी स्ट्रांग होते हैं वैल्यूज। थर्ड पॉइंट इज वैल्यू ट्रांसेंड स्पेसिफिक ऑब्जेक्ट, सिचुएशन और पर्सन। जैसे वैल्यूज आर लाइक एटीट्यूड, जैसे attitude is something which varies with object, situation, person. Similarly, values also varies with all these three things. Well, now the fourth point, values are relatively permanent and resistant to change. Values are very permanent and it is very resistant to change as compared to attitude. Now the fifth point is, what are the most center? Values are the most center to the core of a person, since it is our nature part and which is at core of our belief or feeling, then obviously it becomes very strong. And now the fifth point, values have two attributes. Values के दो attribute होते हैं, एक content attribute और एक intensity attribute. Content attribute state that a particular mode of conduct is important. जैसे हमारा behavior important, अगर हम लोग का behavior important है कि नहीं बताता है ये content attribute, और intensity attribute बताता है कि how important it is, कितना important है हम लोग का वो behavior. Now the last point is, when we rank an individual value in terms of their intensity, we obtain the value system of that person. अगर हम लोग किसी इंडिविजुअल के वैल्यू को इंटेंसिटी पे मेजर करते, जैसे रैंक 1 रैंक 2, then we can find the value system of that person. Now the types. According to Milton Rockridge, values have been classified into two types: terminal value and instrumental value. Terminal value, any outcome we want to achieve in our life, that becomes our terminal value. For example, if you want to achieve comfortable life, wisdom, freedom, mature love, family security, equality, happiness, these that becomes our terminal value. Whereas instrumental value, those things through which we acquire our terminal value, becomes our instrumental value, like courage, forgiving, cheerful, loving, obedient, polite, helpful, honest. Now, the factor influencing values. The first factor is family factor. Right from the beginning of our life, we live with our family, sibling, so they influences our value system. Whatever we learn from them become our part of value system. We learn certain ritual, religion, what is right, what is wrong. We adapt the habit of our parents, and because of that, something becomes good or bad. Social factor. It is mainly our school, college. We go to school, and school plays very important role in developing our value system. We learn basic discipline from our school. We learn our first few things from our school, from our parents, teacher, and classmates. So basically, our school and parents are the building block of our value system. They are the first place from where we start learning our values. The third factor is cultural factor. Every culture has its own set of patterns and set of doing things. There are certain beliefs which are passed on from culture. We just follow culture and we don't question culture. Now the fourth point is life experience. We learn a lot of things through our experience, through our personal life experience. We also learn from other person experience, but still there are certain value which we only get into our nature when we believe that we have learned it through our own experience, because we get satisfaction which we have experienced by pursuing them. Now, now the fifth factor is personal factor. Personal factor includes our intelligence, ability, appearance, educational level, which is very personal to us. It varies from every individual to individual. Now the last factor is role demand. Role demand. When we are a part of an organization, we are performing certain role. That particular role also demands certain kinds of value, which we learn from organization. It only comes into problem when there is a role conflict. Role conflict means I have a different value, and organization has different value, and that is where conflict comes into conflict becomes. But most of the time we learn value and we kept on performing that that is the way how we grow in an organization. Thank you, ma'am. That's all. Hello.
Yes, very good, Chandan. Concept इसको कहते हैं. Nice explanation. और बस आपको चंदन इम्प्रूव करना है थोड़ा बहुत प्रोनाउंसिएशन. ठीक है.
Okay, ma'am.
बाकी योर एक्सप्लेनेशन इज गुड. सारा कॉन्सेप्ट आप अच्छे से समझे हैं. और कौन थी? सलोनी का बढ़िया कॉन्फिडेंस. ठीक है. एक्सप्रेशन भी बढ़िया. निहारिका थोड़ा बहुत मेरे को लगा कि आप रीडिंग ही दे रहे थे, एक्सप्लेनेशन तो हुआ ही नहीं कुछ. ठीक है. टोटल टाइम लगा जैसे आप देख तो सब लोग रहे हैं, लेकिन ठीक है, इट्स ओके. बट एक्सप्रेशन होना चाहिए, थोड़ा आवाज में कॉन्फिडेंस होना चाहिए. वे कंटिन्यूसली रीडिंग आउट. ठीक है. सो प्लीज चेक दैट. सो नेक्स्ट.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next presentation. Able to hear me or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, presentation किसका है?
Ma'am, foundation of group behavior.
Group behavior. ठीक है. शेयर करिए.
ओके मैम, एक्चुअली हर्ष एब्सेंट है तो हम अपना पार्ट कर सकते हैं.
हर्ष का क्या टॉपिक है?
मैम उसका थ्योरी ऑफ ग्रुप थ्योरी ऑफ ग्रुप फॉर्मेशन ये सब है. मैम मेरा स्टार्टिंग काम कर लें.
कितने लोग हैं ग्रुप में?
मैम योर वॉइस इज नॉट कमिंग.
How many members are there in your group?
मैम 2.
Only 2 of you are there. Only you and Harsh.
यस मैम.
अच्छा, Anamika, you only texted. Okay, complete your part. Roll 58.
ओके मैम. यस मैम. Good evening, ma'am. Today, I, Anamika, is going to give a presentation on the topic Foundation of Group Behavior in front of you all. First of all, what is a group? A group means 2 or more individuals. When they join together, they interact and dependent on each other, come together to achieve a particular objective. So, reason for forming a group is to accomplish a particular objective. Like in any company, various projects are given to the employees. These employees form a team, and that team members work together and complete their project, which is their objective. Now, moving towards the types of groups, there are mainly 2 types of groups, formal and informal groups. Formal group is a group created officially to perform certain tasks and accomplish organizational goals. It is formed on the basis of organizational structure. Since they are formed by the organization, they have to stick to certain rules and regulations. It can be permanent as well as temporary. The formal groups are further subclassified into the following groups. First one is command group, a group composed of the individual who report directly to a given manager. So in a command group, there is a manager to whom every individual in a group reports. Second one is task group, those working together to complete a job or task in an organization, but not limited by a hierarchical boundaries. So we can understand these 2 groups by taking an example like in a company, there is a head under which there are employees, and then there are the subordinates. These subordinates report to the employees and they report to the head. So there is a hierarchy which is followed for reporting their task. This is command group. Whereas in a task group, there is no hierarchy. Just a project is given to the team and the team members have to complete the task in a specified time period, regardless of ranks or positions. Third one is committee. A specialized group consisted of employees who have been chosen or elected to carry out some crucial functions. There are basically 2 types of committees, standing and ad hoc committees. Standing committees are permanent in nature and are formed by standing orders, bylaws, and rules.
Ad hoc committees are constituted for a short term to serve specific purpose. Now moving towards informal groups. Informal groups are not created by the organization. It arises due to personal relationships between the individuals having certain same factors such as friendship, language, hobbies, personal likes and dislikes. The informal groups also have subtypes. First, friendship and interest groups. The friendship group is formed when team members have same thoughts, beliefs, or any characteristics, whereas interest group is a group where people have joined a group due to a common interest. It can be positive or negative, like some employees form a group and pressurize the management for subsidized transport. So these groups have a common interest, that is subsidized transport. Now, the second type is cliques. These cliques are formed on the basis of social norms and standards existing in the company. There are only 5 or 6 members in this type of group. These are basically formed to provide recognition to each other and exchange information of mutual interest. It can be horizontal, vertical, or mixed. In horizontal clique, the members of the group are of same rank, but can be of any department. In vertical clique, the members of the group are working in the same department, but can be of any rank. In mixed clique, group members are from different ranks, departments, and physical locations. They may have some similarities like residing in the same locality, traveling in the same bus, or anything. Now, the fourth type is subcliques. In subcliques, some of the group members are of inside the organization and some are outside the organization. The members of the cliques give the outsiders due recognition because of some members of their group being associated with them. The fourth type is based on sales classification of group. LR sales identified 4 kinds of groups based on pressure tactics. In an organization, mostly informal groups are formed to pressurize the management. The kind of pressure the group members form for on the management is classified by the sales. The first one is apathetic group. Those groups which have less problems, so they don't use pressure tactics. There is no leader in this group, so there is a leadership crisis. Now the question arises that why don't they use pressure tactics? And the answer is that these group comprises of low skilled, less paid or contractual workers. These workers lack power and unity as these workers are from different places. Second one is erratic group. The members of these groups are easily inflamed and easily pacified. There is lack of consistency in their behavior. They sometimes show antagonism while sometimes they may be cooperative. They show considerable unity. These are mostly semi-skilled workers. Third one is strategic group. The members of these groups are able to prepare strategy for putting pressure on the groups and management. They are performing technologically independent jobs and are comparatively better placed than members of earlier categories. Generally, they are of middle level management. These are highly united and actively participate in union activity. They keep continuous pressure on the management. Fourth one is conservative group. It consists of professionals and highly skilled employees. They are found at higher levels of the organization and display considerable self-confidence. The most important thing is that these groups have power, means if they want to shut down the plant, they can. They activate only when there is a big motive, like increment of salary, promotion, or any technological change in organization. Here is moderate unity. Now, I'm going to discuss about stages of group formation. So what is group formation? It is like when we contact, there is some kind of some form of interaction between the people. These interaction passes through 5 different stages like forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. So Tuckman suggested that a group passes through these 5 stages. The first stage is forming stage. It is the initial entry of members when single individuals getting to know each other. They are forming a group. defining group rules, get to know about the team. Now the next stage is storming. What do we mean by storm? It's kind of with outside demands, understanding members' interpersonal style. Everyone has their own personal thoughts, burning ideas, and there's a lot of clashes in this storming stage. The third stage is storming. Here a point comes in a group formation where group really begins to come together as a coordinated unit. Members concerned include holding group together, dealing with divergent views and criticisms. Here in this norming stage, the roles and responsibilities are clear, and then after making the rules and assigning the work, here comes the performing stage. It marks the emergence of mature, organized, well-functioning group. Now comes the adjourning stage. The group terminates here. The shared goals has been achieved. It can be in few months or in a year. The group terminates because the task has been completed and when the members have left due to failure or loss of interest. A well-integrated group is able to disband when its work is finished, willing to work together in the future. Here they wrap up activities and provide a sense of closure to its members. With this, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you.
अनामिका सारा स्लाइड भी आप ही बनाए हैं? Anamika, can you hear me?
Yes.
You have prepared slide by your own?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, तो हर्ष का कौन सा पार्ट बच रहा है?
Ma'am, theory of
उसको करना है कि नहीं करना है?
नहीं पता मैम. मैम उसका थ्योरीज ऑफ ग्रुप फॉर्मेशन और ग्रुप स्ट्रक्चर बचा हुआ है.
ओके, anyhow, हम लोग रुकेंगे तो नहीं और है टाइम, हम लोग एक और कर सकते हैं. लीडरशिप से पहले कुछ भी है क्या? खैर जो प्रिपेयर्ड है वो करिए, लीडरशिप शेयर करिए.
यस मैम.
यस मैम. मैम अलाउड है?
क्या अलाउड है?
अलाउड शेयर करना.
हाँ.
Okay. May I start, ma'am?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Neha ma'am for giving us this great opportunity to present our views. My name is Patliputra University. I am a student of BBA second sem. Today, Anisha Jaiswal, Nandini, and me are going to present a very informative presentation regarding the topic leadership. So let's start. First of all, let us know about the basic difference between the boss and a leader. Remember, the difference between a boss and a leader is a boss says goes and a leader says let's goes. इसमें हम एग्जांपल ले सकते हैं. जैसा कि हम लोग देखते हैं किसी भी ऑफिस में एक जो बॉस होता है वो ये कहता है कि इस काम को करो अपने एम्प्लॉय से. वही एक लीडर जो है वो ये कहता है हम लीडर के बीच का. इसके बाद हमारे लीडर के बारे में जानने जरूरत है. Now, what is leadership? So leadership is the sensing and support others to work towards achieving objective. And we can also say leadership is a continuous process of behavior. It is not प्राप्त करने के लिए लीडरशिप जो है वो चाहता है एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन गोल करने के लिए. Now follower works willingly and enthusiastically to achieve this goal, so there is no coercive force. Now we understood about the what leaders management, but some important differences are first, on the basis of sources there is a personal ability in the leadership, whereas in management there is a authority delegated. And the second definition is that the leadership focus on the vision and purpose, whereas management focus on the operating result. And the third difference is leadership, the approach of leadership is transformational approach, whereas the approach of management is transactional approach. So this term is hard, so that's why I'm going to define it. Transformational approach का मतलब होता है काम के साथ साथ empathy भी दिखाना. काम तो यहाँ दिखता ही है, साथ साथ empathy भी दिखता है. वही जो ट्रांजैक्शनल अप्रोच है उसमें सिर्फ काम को ही देखा जाता है, इसको हम लोग टास्क ओरिएंटेड बोलते हैं. नाउ द प्रोसेस ऑफ लीडरशिप इज इंस्पिरेशनल, वेयर एज द प्रोसेस ऑफ मैनेजमेंट इज कंट्रोल. एंड नेक्स्ट डिफरेंस इज द एम्फेसिस ऑफ लीडरशिप इज कलेक्टिवली and whereas the emphasis of management is individualism. So the next difference is futurity. On the basis of futurity, leadership is proactive, whereas management is reactive. And the last difference is leadership is of two types, formal and informal, but management is only of one type, that is formal. Now we are moving towards the next slide. In this slide we learn about the theories of leadership. There are four theories of leadership. First is trait theory, second is behavioral theory, third is system theory, and fourth is situational theory. Now we are
प्रत्येक एनईए में प्रत्येक एनईए में
yes ma'am.
हाँ, अब हम लोग अटेंडेंस ले लेते हैं, हमारा टाइम ओवर हो चुका है. लेसन 5.
नो मैम, पहले से ज्वाइन थे, थोड़ा नेटवर्क इशू हो रहा था, पहले से ही ज्वाइन थे.
अरे ऋतिक, होल्ड डाउन. मैं प्रत्यय से बात कर रही हूँ. ये बिहार से हम लोग नेक्स्ट क्लास में करते हैं, ठीक है?
ओके मैम.
अभी अटेंडेंस दे दीजिए, शेयर हटा लीजिए. मुझे लगता है अभी भी 3-4 टॉपिक बाकी होगा प्रेजेंटेशन के लिए. इंटरपर्सनल स्किल भी नहीं हुआ है.
यस मैम.
कितना टॉपिक बचा हुआ है बताइए.
वही मैम इंटरपर्सनल स्किल है मैम, और
कम्युनिकेशन, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कल्चर
हो गया.
3 हो गया.
कम्युनिकेशन है मैम, कम्युनिकेशन भी अभी बचा हुआ है, और स्ट्रेस
पावर एंड
मैनेजमेंट,
पॉलिटिक्स 4.
कॉन्फ्लिक्ट मैनेजमेंट, स्ट्रेस मैनेजमेंट एंड कॉन्फ्लिक्ट मैनेजमेंट, पावर एंड पॉलिटिक्स, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कल्चर.
6 टॉपिक बचा हुआ है.
यस मैम.
Today is 14th. Roll 1, 2.
Yes ma'am.
3.
Present ma'am, roll number 3.
4.
Present ma'am, roll number 4.
5. 6.
Present ma'am.
7.
Present ma'am, 7.
8. 9. 10. 11. 12.
मैम रोल नंबर 10 मैम.
13. आप लोग को देख चुके हैं. 13. Okay, 14. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20,
Present, ma'am. 20.
21, 22, 23, 24.
24 मैम।
24 के बदले आप ही बोलिएगा।
नहीं वो ट्रेन में अभी मैसेज आ रहा है कि रेज हैंड कर देंगे, मैम से बोल दूंगा। दीपा कुमारी वर्मा 24।
Deepa, you are there? 25, 26.
Yes, ma'am. 25.
26, 27, 28, 29, 29 सागर नहीं है। 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37,
Present, ma'am. 36.
37, 38, 39.
38, ma'am.
हाँ, आज आशीष का कैमरा भी पूरा टाइम ऑन था। 39, 40,
Present, ma'am. 40.
41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 45,
46, ma'am.
ठीक है। 47, 48,
Ma'am, 48. Ma'am, 48%.
ऋषि आपका भी ऑन था। 49, अंकु का ऑफ था। अंकु टोटल टाइम ऑफ रखे हैं आप कैमरा।
मैम ये चार्ज नहीं था, फोन चार्ज नहीं था इसलिए।
50, 51,
मैम 51% मैम।
ऋतिक का भी ऑफ था। 52,
मैम नेटवर्क,
Present,
मेरा
ma'am.
नेटवर्क इशू हो रहा था मैम आज।
मैम 49 बना दीजिए मैम प्रेजेंट।
तो प्रेजेंट रहने से क्या हुआ। 53, 56,
प्रेजेंट मैम।
मैम 5:35 तक तो हम वीडियो ऑन था, उसके बाद से ही ऑफ हुआ।
रुकिए 54, 55, 56, 57, 58,
Present, ma'am. 58.
59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69.
67, ma'am. 67 present.
लोग का भी ऑन था। 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76.
प्रेजेंट मैम 75।
प्रिया सिंह
यस मैम।
किधर है आप।
मैम
अच्छा हाँ, आपका भी ऑन था। 76, 77.
ma'am. 76.
77. 77, ma'am.
Okay, 78, 79, 80, 81,
Ma'am, 79%.
79. रिधिमा
Yes,
आपको
ma'am.
नहीं देखी हूँ, किधर है आप। आपका भी ऑन नहीं था और आज प्रेजेंटेशन भी नहीं था आपका। 80, 81, 82, 8.
Present, ma'am. 82.
नानिया का भी ऑफ ही था। 83, 84, 85,
Ma'am, actually,
86, 87. डन।
86 मैम 86।
हाँ, मनीष का भी ऑन था।
मैम
चलिए, थैंक यू, सी यू नेक्स्ट क्लास।
थैंक यू मैम।
Thank you,
ऋतिक
ma'am.
हर्षी नहीं रुक रहा। आशीष मतलब सब चैट कर लीजिए यहीं पे।